first question I want to ask is one morning in 1974, our parents and grandparents woke up to be told that they must leave their houses, take their children and run because the Turkish army was invading. They were left with nothing. Slowly they built their lives up again, and then one morning in 2013 they woke up to be told that the money they have saved for their children's education and for their own retirement was to be stolen from the bank accounts on the orders of the European Union. Why did the European Union allow this second catastrophe to happen?
This is a very difficult question, and the answer is not easy. And therefore I start with a question to you.
Yes.
You raised the question why the European Union allowed the catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand the mood and the feeling. But was the banking crisis in Cyprus created by the European Union?
No, of course it wasn't created by the European Union, but...
The question is, we should try not to blame the Union for everything. The bail-in solution in Cyprus was, in my eyes, an unfair procedure against a small country. And we fought in the European Parliament, I personally a lot, against this entire bail-in, that those depositors until 100,000 euros deposit should be taken out, was a result of our pressure we made here. But you are right. The measures are too severe, too strong, and the European Union and the institutions of the Union must help Cyprus to regain economic stability and growth. And one consequence is the Eurogroup and the Troika must justify their actions publicly in front of the European Parliament, that in a night negotiations 17 ministers behind closed doors decide, and the next morning everybody of them said, I have nothing to do with the decision, this is not feasible. And therefore I think the Union didn't allow the catastrophe, but the Union did not enough to avoid it. And therefore my recommendation is, let's try to support Cyprus to regain economic growth as soon as possible.
So the European Parliament doesn't tolerate the powers given to non-elected entities like the Troika, the Eurogroup and the European Central Bank, which has resulted in so much unemployment and misery, also in Cyprus, Greece, Italy and Portugal. So what you're planning to do about it?
Central Bank, I would not agree with you. I think the Central Bank is, the ECB is perhaps not playing the role everybody is expecting from them, but I think the ECB, with this announcement of Draghi to buy unconditionally state bonds, he saved at the end, in my eyes, the euro. Which is concerning the Troika measures, you are right. The Troika is caring exclusively about budgetary discipline and cuts. And they have no plan for growth and investment. But we will never regain stability in the public budgets if we only cut. The public budget can only be restructured by more revenues. For Cyprus, for example, I urged in the European Council, in a close cooperation with President Athanasiou, that the 300 million euros Cyprus need as a recompensation for the difficult situation in this frame of support for countries in exceptional economic situations. I fought in the European Parliament, we fought a lot for this 300 million. But it is not enough. We must especially speak to small and middle enterprises in the countries which have all one problem, one major problem. They get no money to invest. So, and therefore this credit crunch in the country must be solved. I was in Nicosia in the main street. I was deeply shocked. I was shocked because no people, no consumption. Most of the shops closed or discussing if they should close. And therefore, but when I discussed with the enterprises, they told me a lot of ideas they had. But all the same problem. By the way, in Italy and in Spain the same. The small and middle enterprises have a big problem. They don't get credits, they don't get money to invest. And therefore, I think to overcome the credit crunch, especially in a country like Cyprus, suffering of a banking crisis, it's quite clear, these banks in the crisis there, they keep their money. They don't give the money out, they don't loan money because they don't trust. And foreign banks are not coming to the country because there's no Cyprus, there is nothing to do. Therefore, a well-structured credit program for smaller enterprises especially, this is one of the most urgent measures. But the Troika is always discussing about everything, but never about such measures.
So we just keep it to a couple of questions each, if you don't mind.
So, can I go ahead?
Yeah. No, well,
Ladies
yes,
first,
please.
maybe.